We got a question in the chat room. They want to know about the chord D minor. I don't know if there's any principles behind that.
That's one that Bach seemed to favor a lot. Its relative is the F major. D minor really gets you into some deep roads. And Bach chose that key for most of his very serious organ works, including his final work, which he died before he could complete, which is almost 3 hours long. And then F major, which is basically the same thing but shifted in phase, third, is a very golden, sunshiny, warm type of sound. But D minor is kind of murky.
Yeah, a little bit darker.
Kind of violet-colored. It's funny how all these keys, even though the intervals are pretty much the same, they all have different effects.
Yeah. And I've noticed it too. There's actually different bands who will play in these different chords and that will write lyrics that are fashioned around those feelings that are conjured. And when they do videos or wear clothing, they'll wear the colors and stuff that are associated with that, and they're taking it to a next level.
Yeah, that's totally conceivable.
Well, let me ask you
these are things that I was in my early college days. These things, I was working on extensively. Adapting music into networks and oscilloscope displays and analyzers and developing like a television that would portray these things. But this day and age, I don't have all that equipment, and I just lost my main facility about 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know how to get back on track with this again. It's something I'm very interested in. I want to pursue on it, but right now I don't know how to return to that level. Now, what's interesting, what I am working on now, and it's a part of a government project here that is basically been provided to me by the government, is the Earth also generates a lot of its own frequencies and tones.
Yeah, I know they claim that they was able to record some of those tones as well.
Yeah, well, the most probably the best example that's immediately available to the public is there's a person named Steve McGreevy, and he has a website on the Aurora Chorus and Aurora Sounds, and he spent damn near a decade during optimum circumstances of bringing magnetic loops into Canada and intercepting the electromagnetic fields of the Aurora, and it's on the internet. You can find these sounds. There's some of these recordings. I mean, I've heard these things, and I about fell out of my chair. You can't tell the difference between the sounds of the Aurora and the sounds of the deep sea animals. They make the same types of noises.
Yeah, and that principle, if I'm correct, is the same principle with the Om tone. Whenever those who are of the Buddhist or Hindu tradition, whenever they would sit in a circle and chant Om, it's supposedly the sound of the song of the sun emanating that sound, and they get on one harmony with that. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could hit a harmonic, the aurora tones, and for me, I'm into the telluric stuff that the earthquakes and volcanoes and hurricanes and those kind of things generate. That's what the bulk of my research, and that's what my project is right now. Also produces a lot of interesting, at the beginning, the onset, before the main seismic event, I've heard recordings that other people have taken of what sounds like giant Tibetan gongs. My equipment picked up like screaming sounds and hits, and there's all these frequencies, but the wavelengths are so long and the velocities are so high on this type of stuff that we only exist at a very higher harmonic of these frequencies and wavelengths, which could be, half the size of the solar system, or have a frequency of one cycle every 28 days. These are extremely low-pitched, long wavelengths, and these things are permeating through the atmosphere all the time. I have an extremely sensitive altimeter barometer instrument in my car that we use on the fighter jets that will measure elevation down to just a couple of feet. And I can park somewhere and watch that thing as it slowly goes down and then it slowly goes up, and then it slowly goes down as these waves go through. When you look up in the sky, you'll see all these like patterns in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And those are sound waves, extremely low frequency sound waves.
So that would almost be similar to the rain dances of the Native Americans, correct? What they were trying to tap into?
Possible. I'm not certain on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to go out on a limb here, but this is just something I want to ask you. You referred to these different tones and vibrations as whenever you play them, you're able to see them make a shape. I've seen different videos where they play tones and they make different shapes, different perfect sacred geometrical patterns, and whenever the tone is a pure tone or a nice tone or a perfect tone, and then other ones when they play something like a cymbal or a crash or something like that, the symbol turns into, or the shape turns into something that looks like mass confusion.
Right.
And whenever you referred to them a while ago, you called them entities. Is on a very spiritual level, when you talked about the church was actually in on this as well, and they studied this and performed this as well. Are these entities or are these sounds and tones, are they living entities? Are they living beings?
Well,
it's
hard to say. I mean, they start to become, like an organism.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had these things on the CRT display, it did cause certain people to become terrified when they saw it. That weren't, familiar with, large scale, military type, radar, CRT rooms and all that stuff. Where there's all kinds of stuff going on. That was already intimidating enough to begin with, with the line of the DC to DC converters and this now transformer. And then here's this green thing, dancing around and pulsating like an amoeba on one of the CRTs, to the Bach organ music or the Handel chorus, and it really frightens people.
Yeah.
It really looks like it's alive.
I would wonder.
The most intense images that I got on this system was from the works of Georg Friedrich Handel, who was the last composer of this music.
Mm-hmm.